Hello, mentorship group. So excited that you guys are all here and that you've taken out time on your Monday evening when I know as busy women and moms, there could be about 10 million other things that we could be doing at this very second. And so I just want to honor your time and honor who you are and the journey that you're on and just say welcome. So glad you're here. Tonight, I'm really here to serve you. My name is Pryor-Berkowitz, Senior Gold Ambassador. Been with Plexus about 4.5 years-ish, and have a team that I love to serve, and really focused on growing and growing together. And just know that we're all here to learn from one another. And so any thought that you're having is okay to ask. If I'm someone that I'm like, that's a good idea. I don't know. Let me see what someone else thinks about that. We'll just ask. We'll look for answers together and we'll just go from there. So excited that you guys are on the mentorship program. Like, this is an incredible program that Brittany and Christina and some others have developed that really is a gift laid before you that you can follow step by step and be able to really lean in and learn and be excited about your business and the choices that you're making to share with others and to watch people's lives really transform before your eyes. So it's amazing. We're so glad that you're here. I just want to open up the floor. If anyone has any burning questions that you're like, okay, I really came tonight hoping that I could ask this, I'm all ears for that. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about or get coached on specifically? If not, we'll talk about IPA.
I am struggling with, I can start a conversation, I can get people interested, I can send testimonies, I can send video, but then I'm stuck trying to get the, closing the deal, I'll say, of getting them to the point of purchasing a wellness pack. What is a good strategy or way I can get through that scare
Sure.
of I want to be pushy, but I also want them to know this is really going to help them.
Sure. Well, I think a couple things in what you just said there. One was the word scary. And so just identifying whatever we're thinking about it is kind of how we present it. And so oftentimes when we're scared to be able to ask for the clothes, we present it in a way that maybe they don't actually want it. And the truth of the matter is every single person can benefit from these products. Every single person, man, woman, child, everyone can benefit. So knowing that the way that we present and come across, whether we're confident or we're afraid and we don't really want to be the pushy person, is how we project then onto the conversation. So I would just ask, what is it you feel like people think is scary about you asking them the question?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And what is your name? I don't think
Marley.
Marley?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I'm only on Plexus myself for 5 weeks now. I've noticed a huge change, and my son is taking BioCleanse, and he's not constipated anymore, which is huge. But yeah, just trying to get over that scared hump of I don't want to be pushy, but I just want everybody to know about Plexus and how amazing it's changed my life in the first 5 weeks and my son's.
Yeah. I love that. And I agree with you. You do want everyone to know. There's so much excitement we come to this with, and it's everybody needs to know. Yeah. And you're like, but wait, what do I do about that? I want everyone to know, but yet I don't know what to do. Yeah. So question, have you been going through the guides in the mentorship?
I'm almost done with the guides.
Okay, good job. 5 weeks and you're doing it. Good for you. That's really great. So whenever you joined Plexus, what was the conversation that you had with your sponsor? And did you feel like there was a pushiness in that conversation?
Not really. Miranda is actually my sponsor. And
okay,
she was
you can
amazing.
Say whatever you need to say.
I never felt pushed. to do it. I guess I think she had reached out like a couple times before, probably years prior to all of this starting, but I was just diagnosed with celiac, so I like
Oh,
am really um changing how
yeah.
like my body is intaking different supplements and everything. Um, so Miranda was really good with like the biggest thing for me was pricing. Um, so like it was just a big thing, like I just don't know if we should do it. And then
Mhm.
she was like coaching me on like, well, if you do it and you get 3 referrals, like you're already paying for what you're getting back what you paid for and more.
Mhm.
So that was
Yeah.
like a big thing of like, okay, I know I can do this. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. So have you done that then? Do you
Yeah,
have
I
three people
found
who?
3 people. I got 3 people last month, but now I'm struggling to like get those
Yeah.
next 3 people.
Okay. Okay. When you say struggle, is it in reaching out? Are you reaching out and following like the guidelines?
Yeah, I'm reaching about 5 people a day and following up with like 2 to 3 people a day who have been interested and just kind of have been on the, you know, they're
Sure.
interested, but then they kind of like drop off the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I remember that was really pivotal for me in the follow-up process, and there's videos that you can watch that are amazing. And I know Abby has a video. There's so many great resources. So you've got resources at your hands. So that's one thing to know. You're not alone. Like you're not alone. You've got the goods in front of you.
Yep.
But one thing that really changed follow up for me was one night we were on a Monday Night Live, and Christina was teaching about whenever you're following up with someone, you're following up in a way that you're bringing new information to them each time. Follow up is not, are you ready to join now? Oh, hey,
Right.
it's been 3 days. What are you thinking now? Are you ready? What's going to make you ready? You know, that kind of thing. That's not follow up. That's like badgering kind of. So that's the difference. And that could be where it's scary versus not scary.
Yeah.
When you're bringing new information to them and saying, listen, you know, I thought of you today whenever I read this article in the gut health page, or, you know, you saw a testimonial someone else posted in our team. And you're like, this made me think of you. I don't know if you can relate to this, or, you know, read through this and let me know what you could relate to in this information. And so I know that makes a big difference whenever you're supplying new information that gives them something else to consider.
Sure.
And the normal follow up process is about 8 to 12 times of sending
Right.
that new information. So part of it, I find, is that the speed of the process is not our speed. And that can get frustrating. I mean, that's
Right.
just honest. That can be frustrating. You're like, what? And you're
Right.
wanting, trying, what do I do next? Pulling teeth, what do I do? And instead, it's like, okay, take a moment back. And you said Miranda reached out to you for years, actually. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until you had a health change or health crisis that then all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait, this is my time now.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, it's not our timing, which, you know, is our due diligence to do the right thing at the right time in the follow-up, in sending and following the time guidelines. But it really comes back to their timing as well. And something clicks in that moment, in that process, to where it's like, okay, now I've had a change in my health. I've had something happen. I've all of a sudden my eyes are open, like, oh, it makes sense. That's what I need. And then that's when
Yeah.
you're able to offer them, hey, you know what would be holding you back? That is a great question to ask someone that you followed the process with. And you're like, what else do I do? You can simply ask them, you know what? It seems like you're really interested in the beginning. And then I've shown you these testimonials, what you could relate with. And yet you're still hesitant. Could you share with me what's holding you back from that? And then that gives you the freedom that they know, okay, she knows I'm hesitating. So there's obviously something here. And it kind of just diffuses the anxiety about it. And all of a sudden we're people again. And you're just relating to another mom going, hey, do you want to go to Marshall's and go shopping? No, I can't today. Okay, but why? Oh, I've got the kids. Oh, okay. And just simply the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The same with the products or the business. No, I can't today because I've got this. Oh, well, what about next Tuesday? Well, that doesn't work. Okay, well, what about? And you're just offering something new every time. And then finally you're like, oh, we've got a date. Okay, 3 weeks from now, this is what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, everything lined up.
Sure.
It's just like, I mean, it's not that simple, but in the process of it, it really is like planning a coffee date with two busy people. And you're simply going back and forth and trying to find out where do we mesh.
Right.
So don't overstress things is one of the key things. It's not about you. Don't overstress. You continue through consistency, following up. And at some point, you're going to hit that mesh meeting point of going, next Friday works. Perfect. Let me help you get that done.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that, or someone else have a point about the conversation that you're feeling stuck in, or there's a hurdle for you in that? Or if anyone else has a totally different question that you'd like to ask.
I'm gonna piggyback off that. I keep forgetting my questions because you keep answering them, and then I come up with a new one. So she actually asked the exact question I was gonna ask. So I guess we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I guess my question is more like, when do you know is like the right time, like in the conversation, to ask them like if they're ready? Because I don't want to ask too early, and then kind of like make them feel pressured or anything, but I don't know yet, because I've only been doing this for a couple weeks. So I'm just like trying to learn when I'm supposed to be like, like, is this something you are, willing to invest in for your health? I don't know when to pose that question.
Sure. I feel like this is one that maybe is variable for our personalities. Some people ask that question in the very first conversation. You've shared, hey, I thought of you. This is what I'm doing. Here's some information. Would you be open to hearing more? And then they say yes, no, whatever. And then you just kind of go through a flow chart in your mind, like, okay, they said yes. So what do I do now? Send them a testimony, send them, information, a video, and keep working down the process. And then for others, it's like, oh, I could never, that's way too forward. Like, that's not something I feel comfortable with, and asking or presenting that to someone right in the beginning. So then a little bit more for you. You may be someone who wants to make connection a little bit more. Okay. That being done, then it's like, where do you feel like has been enough information shared that you can ask that? What was it for your experience whenever you joined? Did you have enough information?
Is a little bit different because Miranda contacted me like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And then like I totally ignored her because I thought she was calling me fat, and I was like, okay, well, I don't need this. That's okay. That's honestly what they're in my head at the time. I was like, who is this chick and why is she trying to tell me how? That's what's through my head. So I ignored her, and I think she forgot about me. But then she must have saw some of my pics because I just had a baby not that long ago. Same time she had hers. And she kept like, she invited me to mops, I think. And then she like brought up that she was having a Plexus event. And I really just went because I was trying to make more mom friends. And she seemed really sweet. And then I learned like a whole bunch of information. I was like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm sold. So she sent me, we talked for a while there. Then she sent me a video, and then like, yeah, I'm in. So I haven't seen, I guess, a more usual like experience quite. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. So Marina, what I'm seeing is there's a theme of people who you've asked years ago, and then all of a sudden the timing is right, and here they are. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Glad everyone's here. So for part of it, then I would say is just knowing yourself and knowing what you're comfortable with and asking people. And when you go through the guides, if you've not done that yet, such helpful tools that has different conversations based upon personalities that you can kind of guide your conversations around and be able to send that.
Yeah, I
But
have.
if
I'm
you,
doing the first approach you said. I go through a checklist. I'm very planned person.
yeah,
So I've just been very upfront because I am actually really passionate about this, even though I'm very new. So I'm just honest with people and I tell people that I'm just trying to figure out, I guess I'm more asking in your experience, have
sure.
you noticed or seen where like the question was asked too early to like close that it kind of pushed people away? Does that make sense?
You know, if you're open and honest with people in the beginning, I don't think there's a too soon. As long as you're open, that you're ending every question, I mean, every conversation with a question and giving people a platform, a format that they can respond back and answer. So you're asking the question. And if you ask them, so, you know, would this be something that you're wanting to invest in your health? I think that's how you worded it. Would this be something that you're ready to do now? And they say no, then that gives you, then you go to your flow chart. I'm a flow chart person. Like I see things in flow charts. Okay, no, so then here I go. Here's where I head down the side of the chart. They said no, okay, that's totally fine. Everyone has their own timing. And I even say that to people in the conversation. Like, hey, that is no problem. And you can say, it took me 4 years. Like, I get that. What is it for you that might be holding you back? And just simply asking the question, giving them the freedom to know I can respond to this. And I don't think there's an asking too early issue. It's asking maybe too inauthentically would be the issue. Whenever you're more focused on a sale versus serving someone, that becomes where people are like, oh, offended or whatever. And it's like, if you really are in the mindset of, how can I serve you? That alleviates so much of the fear or the offness about it that people are used to with sailing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Has anyone else had an experience that someone was trying to sell you something you were like, ugh? What was different for you than in your time with Plexus? And what have you learned by that?
I have someone that is trying to sell me Mary Kay, which normally I don't mind people doing that and direct sales too. But she will send me a private message and she'll say it's kind of the same thing all the time. She'll say like, I've been challenged to sell, today it was mascara, 20 mascaras because there's something going on. It's like National Eyelash Week or something. I don't know. And then she's like, I've been challenged to do this. Can you help me out? And after being in Plexus, I just want to say, but what's in it for me? You're supposed to be serving me. Like, I don't want to help you out. Like,
right.
So I think that the approach, I'm definitely more like on hyper alert to and how they follow up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really aware of much until Plexus, and now all of a sudden it's like the radars are out going, oh, I understand where you're coming from. I see your process. I know what you're doing. And that's fine. But people can sense sincerity or not. And I think that's where most of us are coming from, a place of feeling, if we're feeling fearful, it's like, okay, what is it about it that we're feeling fearful of? If we're sincerely connecting with people and asking about their health goals, asking about their health problems, like that's really going above and beyond to where we're serving others from a place of love. And I think that makes this such a unique company and a unique approach. Is really like, yes, we're all trying to hit goals and ranks and all of our things, but the bottom line is, how can I love you and serve you? That is something that will keep people using your products and staying on your team. That's how you build. And Plexus is really coming from a heart of service. And people are going to sense that. And they see that you're authentic about it. And then they can be more open, you know? So that's one approach that I think is really something that people can tell just in our conversation, our wording. Does someone else have a question that you want us to talk about tonight? Everyone's exactly happy with where you are and what you're doing.
So I'll ask a question. I'm Trish.
Sure. Hi, Trish. Nice to meet you.
Yes, thanks. Thanks for having me. So I just started a couple weeks ago. I'm very new at this. I have not gotten anybody to sign up yet, but I'm doing the work. I'm going through the guides. One thing that I was curious about is once you get to a point, you kind of start having to add friends, right? And like reach out a little bit farther beyond like your group of people that you know. And I was just like, how do you go about that? Like, how do you know who to try and befriend, if you will? And how do you, like, any suggestions towards that?
Yeah. I know in one of the guide sections, Brittany, I think, has a post about the leads that maybe you don't know you have, a leads list. And it kind of breaks down like different points of connection that you have in your life. So start thinking through your circles of who am I as a person and what do I have going on? Do I have kids? Okay, what connections do I have with other kids' parents, school, teachers, coaches, church, friends, high school, college? You know, it's like the different eras. We can use a fun word right now, eras, the different eras of your life. And go, who do I know at that point that I could connect with? Another way through like Facebook and social media is like, what other groups of interest do you have? Do you knit? Do you crochet? Do you drink coffee? Do you read? Are you in a book study, book club, the library? Like, what other, you know, groups are you a part of that you could either join Facebook groups, you know, different interest groups? Do you have chickens? Or you're a chicken mom? Or like, whatever. Are you homeschooling mom? Are you not a mom at all? You're like, quit talking about moms. That could be. I'm sorry, I don't know. But it's like, whatever other interests you have in your life, like that's a great place to start. And just writing down the names like, oh, I hadn't thought of this. You know, here's 10 friends that I had from high school that I could still reach out right now and say, hey, I know we haven't talked in years. I don't want this to be awkward, but I want to catch up and see how you're doing. And I don't know if your health is anything like my health at this stage of our life, blah, 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 blah. But I've just started and I love this. I don't know if you're looking for anything for help with energy, less bloating, sugar cravings, whatever. I would love to be the girl to share with you what I've got. If you're open to that, you know, just thinking through like different points in your life is really an easier way to kind of find those people and then make relationships off of that.
Yeah, so when I first started, it was really small, and then I'm working with Abby. You know Abby?
Okay.
And
I do.
she helped like build my confidence. And then like this weekend we had a goal like of how many people I was gonna reach out to, and I like doubled that. And I was like, okay, now I feel good, right? Like, but
Yeah.
I mean, 5 a day that some of the others are doing it. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there to do the cold calls, but I'm slowly building up confidence and I'm slowly getting there, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna it building confidence to get there.
Good job. Everybody goes kind of your own pace. So it's kind of put your blinders on and you set what goals you have for your own business. And then say, okay, I know someone else is doing 10 a day. Right now, this is where I'm at. I'll do 3. 3 is good. If you stay steady and consistent with the 3, that will multiply over time. So just start where you're at and then increase and grow. And maybe, you know, after a week, a couple weeks, you can say, I could probably do maybe one more. Let's just see.
Yeah.
And then you add in the one, and then it literally will build and grow. Good job. Good job for 2 weeks. What you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
There's,
Yeah.
I believe it's on Plexus Freedom Team Guide 7. There's cold market recruiting using social media and attraction marketing using social media to grow your business. But I think there is one called Leads I Didn't Know I Had or something like that somewhere. But just so you know, Trish, that's in the Plexus Freedom Team, and you go under guides, and it's guide 7. So just scroll down.
That makes sense. I haven't gotten to 7 yet, so I'll get there.
No, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. And just knowing that even, adding friends of other friends and building a relationship through that is a great way to increase your circles of influence as well. Were there who else has a question? Who's had a join this week? Oh, we're at Monday. Maybe last week, maybe today. I don't know. Good job for you if you have. Way to go. Start the week off strong. Who had a join last week? If anybody sees a hand, shout it out. And if not, who's working on a join this week?
Bria had one, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm calling you out. Didn't you have one, Ambria? Yes, she had one last week. So as soon as her orders go through this month, she will be silver, everybody, just so you all know. So close.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Way to go. And that is another thing that is so beautiful and unique about this company, just so you guys know, if you've just been here, a minute, everyone cheers for everyone, because nothing about our team is based on scarcity. It's just an abundance mindset is what our leaders have brought down for the years now, throughout the generations of our team. It's like everything is about abundance. There is no shortage of people. There's no shortage of resources. There's no shortage. So there's no reason why I can't cheer you on. It builds you up and it builds me up, because you increase my faith and my belief whenever I see you succeeding. That means, oh, wait, I can do that too. So just so you know, you are never without because you cheer someone else on. It's a win-win for everyone on our team when we do that.
Overwhelmed. Tried to sleep in this morning, but the kids destroyed the front room. So now I have to clean it up.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a question coming or just an unmuted person. Either way, is there something that anyone else wants to talk about right now?
Oh, well, hey, Tamara.
Hi, Jillian.
Hey, I just wanted to share that I'm working on my first cold market, technically.
Okay.
I talk about Plexus a lot at work. I'm an ICU nurse, and so there's lots of work people to talk about. And I have a fun spinny blender cup that attracts a lot of attention. So it lights up. It's pretty fun. And last weekend, I was talking with the patient's family, like taking care of the patient, spending a lot of emotional time in the ICU talking with the family. And my Plexus came up. There's my fancy cup, and here's my pink drink. And we talked and talked and talked for like 2 days last weekend. Gave my phone number, my name and phone number to the mom, and ran into them today on the unit. She had texted the wrong person. And so we fixed my phone number, and I sent her some triplex information. She was very interested. And so I'm very excited about my first cold market. Also, what happened today at work, a gal was floated over from Nina's ICU to our ICU in Appleton. And I looked back in my messages. I had sent her one message. back over the summer, just a new message, just one time, never followed up.
Yeah.
But I kept posting on Facebook, and she was watching and watching and watching. And when she was floated over today, she was like, "Hey, so what's up with that pink drink?" And I was like, "Cassie, girl, you're gonna love it." Told her about it, gave her more information. And she's looking at, I actually just shared a cart with her before I came on this call. So, a pretty fun Plexus, like, side working at work today. So,
That's really cool.
yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Congrats.
I just want to point out
People-
you guys, that that's a really good reminder that, like, I think we get really focused on sending messages for new contacts or follow-ups, but like you can talk to people in person too. Like if you're sitting next to some other moms like at a sporting event, or you go to the chiropractor and you're sitting in the waiting room, like you can visit with people in person and share contact information. So if that's something that excites you and you're more comfortable doing that, like when it comes, especially when it comes to cold marketing versus just adding somebody on social media, that's another option. And it ends up being really fun because you'll connect with people about other stuff too. Like even if they don't end up, being your customer right away, you've connected with somebody that you have something in common with.
I can go off of this because I was in the lunchroom a couple weeks ago, and the CEO came in and filled up his coffee cup, and I was filling up my Plexus cup with everything, and he's like, "What's that?" And so we got talking, and he was like, "I'm interested. Like, I want to talk about this." So we haven't yet because we haven't ran into each other, but it was just so cool, like just having that conversation with the CEO of our company, which is a huge company. So yeah,
Good for you.
I feel like having face-to-face conversations have gone way better for me than just texting somebody randomly.
Yeah, I agree. If you have a point of connection with someone and you already have an intentional relationship, then it's the normal process. Sometimes we make Plexus and social selling really awkward and weird. And it's like, don't do that. Don't be weird about it. Like we wouldn't be weird if we were like, "Hey, does anyone want Culver's? I'm going to the store. I'm going to get this. Does anybody want this with me?" Like, don't be weird about Plexus. "Hey, I have this great thing I love. You could love it too. I don't know. If you want it, let me know. Or here's more information and follow the steps." Just don't make it weird. Okay. That's my jaunt about that. Don't be weird.
Don't make it weird. I have a question. Maybe a question. I'm not quite sure. I have an idea that I want to bounce off you. So
Yeah.
when I was talking to that family about, they were asking, right, trying to get in touch with the daughter. The nurse who was taking care of that patient heard about it, and we started talking about Plexus. And then she went, "It's not one of those pyramid schemes, is it? It's not like 3 more people." And I just kind of clammed up like, well, no, that's illegal, Roger.
Yeah.
Pyramid schemes are illegal. And he was like, "No, I'm just kidding." And then we just kind of like carried on. But what do you say to that?
I've heard different ways to say an answer to that question throughout the years. And one that I love is, and you can take this and you can formulate your own and come up with your own, whatever answer you want to give people. But you can also say, that's so weird because I know I went to Target this week, or wherever you go, wherever you shop. And it's so funny because I think I remember their structure like a CEO, and then there's like management, and there's like all the workers. So it's just really weird. I don't know if that looks like a pyramid to you or not, but every corporation in America is built upon the same model. So I don't know what's weird about it. The only thing weird about pyramid schemes is that that's like an outdated thing and it's illegal. And so if that's anything that you have in your mind, like that is not what this is. Are you able to bless 3 people and help your family? Yes. And I think you're going to love it when you do. So let's get past that. Like pyramid schemes are illegal. So that's not what this is. But is it built upon a model of a pyramid? Yes. Yes, my friend, it is. And so is every other company in the world. It's fine.
I think Pamela's right though. I think any leader you ask is going to tell you something slightly different on how they handle it. I always kind of make it fun, and I'm like, "Ooh, it sounds like you have a story. Like, what was your bad experience with a multi-level marketing company?" And usually they have one. Like, "Well, this one company, blah blah blah," or they come back like, "Well, I don't have any." And you're like, "Oh, well, you seemed really like you
Yeah.
know, straightforward
Yeah.
about it, wondering if it was what. So that's always my question is, ooh, you have a story. Tell me about it.
It's true. Or they'll be like, well, my parent says something about somebody about something, and I just know, like, okay, avoid. It's like, okay, you know, what if you're avoiding the best thing of your life? Let's talk about it. And here's why I love it. Here's why this business model is so amazing. And then you can go in and share from there. Anyone else have a question about cold marketing? You feeling comfortable with that, having conversations with people?
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet with the cold marketing. Just thinking about it. Yeah, thinking about it scares the pants off me, but went through actually with Miranda today. And so my whole list from that, people you don't know, you know, or however
Yep.
it was phrased. I said, when I went through that, I was pretty darn impressed with myself, all the people. I'm like, gosh, I actually do know a lot of people. And I wrote them all down and tried not to prejudge right then. I've done some prejudging
Yeah.
then and now. And so wrote them all out based on my goals, how many people I want to reach out to every day, and just wrote that every day on my calendar. And it goes through like the middle of March. And so then I looked at the next day and I'm like, there's nothing there. So haven't really needed to do it yet, but so I mean, there's some anxiety there, you know.
So what makes the thought of speaking to someone that you don't yet have a relationship with about this scary?
For me, it's not really the speaking with someone that I don't have a relationship with yet. It's finding enough people to talk to.
Sure.
At that time. You know, so I mean, there's how many billions of people in the world, right? But I'm like, okay, how am I going to find them without joining all the things outside my house that aren't normal for me? And that would just be fake anyhow, or getting put in Facebook jail. Like, how am I going to actually do this? So it's more that piece of it.
Sure. And this is one thing to keep in mind is our goals in Plexus is to grow wide and deep. So when you're thinking about, you know, I'm going to run out of people or so forth. So then we go back and we build relationship, we make new friend connections on Facebook, we do the groups, we do the stuff, whatever's authentic to you. But you're also at the same time, every single person that you have joined or that you're sharing with, you're presenting the business to them along the way. Like, this isn't something that you're withholding. And like you said, prejudging who wants, who doesn't. We predetermine in our mind who we think needs this, wants this, would do this before we even ask a conversation with people or have a conversation with them. And it's like, that will hurt you more than anything. Because what I have found is the people that I thought would want this immediately have not. But the people that I thought, oh, they could never afford this, are like, are you kidding me? I need this so bad. Yes, please. And it's like, what? So when you present the opportunity to everyone all the time, then you don't have to worry about any of the prejudging, and you let them speak for themselves.
Right.
Which is so important. And then know that, okay, you're going to start helping others who join you, then helping them go through the mentorship program, helping them go through the guides. Okay, who are their three? Who are you able to help them get their first join? And then it's not always how many can you find or know, but it's how many can you help know their people as well and continue the multiplication. There's a real value in that too.
Actually, I have a question for you, Julianne. Being a nurse, like, so when I hear you talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, there's just this huge market, right? The patients and their families and then I go, like someone at work, like a provider, someone's going to be like, you can't be talking to them about that. That's not, you know, the whole, like, you know, we can't diagnose or prescribe, or it seems even recommend. So I just wonder how you deal with that, like in your mind or in reality.
Sure. So I think I watched a video from, I think it was Jessica Hugensdorn. I think that's how you say her name.
Mhm.
I think she's the one that kind of talked about how do you cross that barrier, right? Like I came home and told my husband, I was like, hey, I gave my number to that patient's family. And he was like, you're not allowed to do that.
Right.
The nurse that was taking care of that patient was like, hey, that family says you sell stuff. They want to talk to you. And I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I did talk to them about Plexus, but you know what we talked about when I was at work is we talked about how much Plexus has helped me and what results I've seen. I didn't talk about the patient. They were asking me questions about what I was doing and what results I had seen. And I answered their questions and I gave them my phone number. And I think what I remember from that video from Jessica was that um, as long as you're not diagnosing and prescribing, right? We're talking about the things that um, that have helped us that may also help them. And yes, I'm doing it at work, but I'm not like I'm answering questions and talking to people. You know, you chit chat at work. I'm not playing cards, but we chit chat at work. So uh, that's how I. This is Jamie, and he says hello. So I guess that's kind of how I approached it. Is this is what's working for me? And they came and said, hey, well, this is what my daughter's struggling with. Could it also help her? And I said, yes, absolutely. And I gave my name and phone number, and I didn't ask for their information. I gave my number to her, and she reached out to me. So I feel that I don't feel I did anything wrong. I don't feel like I broke any HIPAA laws because
Right.
I haven't broken any patient confidentiality.
Yeah, and so I totally agree. You know, there's no HIPAA violations there. I guess what's in the back of my mind is just always the, you know, professional boundaries. You don't give your contact info, you don't do this, you don't do that. And so, I mean, I have thoughts on that, but I guess that's more, so there's that line, that invisible line. And then also the, yeah, I mean, you know, they instill this fear in us, right, of not crossing over or not going outside of our box. So I was just curious how, you know, how you handle that situation and feel like you're staying within your designated box.
No, I totally get that. I had, it was quite a stressful weekend and spent a lot of time with the family. And this is my first time. This is my
It
first
just
time.
kind of organically came up, and so that's the way that
and
worked. Yeah.
they specifically said my daughter would be very interested in this. She's struggling with this and this and this. Do you think it could help her too? And I go back to, yes, these are the testimonies I've read. These are the things that I've read that have helped other people. And I almost felt like as a nurse, we want to help so many people and we want to, prevent them from getting to the ICU, right? We don't want people to be in poor health and have to come to the hospital. So if I can help someone preventative, right?
Right.
It's
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's really being a good steward of our healthcare system in the big picture of it, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
And I'm also a nurse. So I did ER nursing. And I think one thing is just knowing what facility are you working in, what rules do they have in place, and then what ethically can you come to terms with, like, this is where my boundaries are. And, just keeping that. Drinking your pink drink at work and letting everyone else on the shift see it, I think would be wise. And then they can ask you, what is that? What are you doing? Then you have an open door with,
Right.
different coworkers. And then whenever things come up naturally, if you're okay giving your information, that would be up to you personally.
Right.
Yep. And you can always, if you don't want to give your phone number, you can always say, if you're on social media, you could, send me a message on Facebook through this and give that information too. If a phone number feels a little too personal.
I thought of that. I did that. And then I was like, ooh, but I'm not public.
That's true. There you go.
That's not the problem.
Yeah.
She wrote my number on she wrote my phone number down wrong anyway. So.
And then they were back again and you got to see them and connect. So some of that you just got to go, okay, God, I'm going to give it to you. And whatever happens, this is it. So,
yeah.
All right. Yeah, exactly. And there are a lot of different testimonials and stuff about nursing and medical professionals within like our gut health group. And you can even just type it into Facebook, like in the search bar on Facebook, medical professionals Plexus, and you'll get stories. So if you want to research a little bit more, like what do other medical professionals do who are in both spheres, there's resources that you can find for that. Is there anyone else who has a pressing thought that you would like to be able to share tonight or a question to ask? Everyone's feeling confident with your IPA, knowing how to use your time structured, getting some head nods. Yeah.
What do you mean by time structure?
Well, I guess that's personal. What do I do when I sit down and I tell myself I'm going to do IPA? Do I know actually what actions to take in doing IPA, or do I sit there and just struggle?
I sometimes just sit there and struggle.
Yeah, I can say that I've done that too. And so part of it is finding a system that works for you and then knowing how do I structure the time that I have. Some people love being able to work in the pockets of time throughout the day. I'm someone who really, I like to be able to focus and to have some time to be able to get the things done and not feel like I'm always jumping from one thing to the next. I want to complete a task when I sit down. So if you're someone like that, knowing, okay, how can I give myself a little bit more space within my day to have an hour to be able to focus on all the things within the 1 hour versus 15 minutes throughout the day, if that makes sense. And so just knowing how do you work and function best in getting best results of being able to send out messages, have conversations, follow up, and connect with people. So if you're someone that needs a little bit more time to be able to gather your thoughts, sit down, here's my list, I already know what I'm doing, writing it out on a calendar the day before, so you know who it is that you're following up with the next day or reaching out to, helps you stay a little bit more focused and driven and intentional on what task am I doing the next day versus having to create the task every day. That gets kind of defeating at points. So when you're able to know ahead of time what you're doing the next day, that will alleviate some of the setting the struggle before you're able to accomplish something and get the task done.
All right, because like I go to that list and then I'm like, I don't really want to message that person, I guess. Like, and then I feel like I'm just not super enthusiastic about it, and maybe that what? Yeah, how come, Miranda? Here? I guess. Didn't really think about it. I just kind of procrastinate. I can be a bit of a procrastinator sometimes. Probably prejudging too.
Prejudging will be detrimental. Don't do that. And another thing is knowing, okay, if I need to play a transition song or something in my mind that is like my hype song or my whatever song to get yourself in the mindset of like, people want what I have. People want to actually hear from me. People need the solution I have in my hand. So the fear of reaching out to them, okay, I don't have space for that. There's no reason to be fearful. I'm here to have a conversation with someone and I could actually change their life today. This could be life-changing. So my withholding it because I'm afraid is actually keeping something good from them. So if we're able to twist that thought and go, I have something great for them, they just maybe don't know it yet. And it's my responsibility to help them know that. So what is it going to take for them to know? Is it a conversation? Is it, a testimonial? What is it that needs to take place in order to give them the information that they need? Yeah. Self-focused versus others focused. And then it's a matter of none of this is led by emotion. And for those of us who are a little bit more emotional, like it can be like, I don't know, I don't feel like that. Okay, well, this isn't feelings driven. This is discipline driven. So, and that's the hard one for me. Like, I can get my feels all day long and be like, oh, I don't know. But really, at the end of the day, that's not serving anyone, me or them. That's just me putting up a barrier between myself and being able to help someone else. So it's like whenever we just stop all that self-talk and go, what is that I'm afraid of anyway? Correct your thought, replace it with something new that's beneficial and serves others, then you can actually do the thing that you're there to do anyway. And that's to help love serve and to show people the benefit of what you actually have in your hand.
And I think a reminder, like what you said before, Pamela, the people that you don't think are going to jump in with you versus the people you are, like, you're usually wrong. At least I'm usually wrong. Maybe you guys won't be, but I was usually wrong. Like some of my first customers, I was like, I did not expect that. Like, so
yeah,
just really, really focusing on not prejudging someone because you really have no idea what they're silently struggling with or praying for.
It's totally true. I've had that happen so many times. Just like, wait, you said yes? Wait, what? And what? Okay. It just proves me wrong over and over. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm wrong again. It's a good wrong, but yeah, just don't prejudge who you think either wants the products or wants the business. Everyone deserves to hear about both. And then they can choose for themselves. And most people will choose. We just follow the process and they all join eventually, right? That's what we hear. They all join eventually. Any last remarks or thoughts or final questions? We have about 5 minutes. I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to ask what you're wanting to ask. If there's nothing else, that's okay too.
I'll ask another question. So these meetings, they're every week and it's kind of like you come and ask questions or, support each other. That's kind of like what the weekly calls are. So odds are like next week, if I come back, I'll see a lot of the same faces.
We hope so. That's kind of the goal, is that everyone is coming in whenever they join and being plugged in right away to the mentorship program. And then those who are already ready to, share with others, build a business, go for this. These are the people. It's kind of like a cohort. So here's your cohort of friends. You're like, oh, this is so fun. So you could even write down names of people that you see in here. And then, throughout the week, if you're like, oh, I have a question. I remember she said something about this and she asked that question. Then you can actually message them on Facebook or friend them and go, hey, what are you doing about this? I know we talked about this on the mentorship call. What do you think? And it's a great way to build relationships with sideline people of saying, hey, I had a thought. Maybe this would help you too. I know we talked about this. And it's a great forum to be able to build connections. And these are the people you're going to be in Hawaii with. So this is a great way to get to know people now.
Cool. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Handpick the people you want to vacation with for the rest of your life and say, hey, come do this with me. Okay, final call. Last round. If not, Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for being brave and speaking up and asking questions and being coachable and taking all the thoughts. And then, you know, we're really excited to see what this will become for you. We're so proud of you for taking the steps and doing the work and achieving the ranks and all that you're doing. So good job, everybody. Hope you guys all have a good night. God bless. And we'll see you later.